When Andru McCracken went missing last month, we looked for him in the usual places. We swept the pubs.
We checked under parked cars.
And combed sleazy motels in Kamloops.
But we couldn't find him anywhere. Turns out he had run away to India.
In this next segment, Cub reporter Ray Virgoe puts the screws to McCracken in an attempt to uncover his secret second life.
Hi, this is Ray Virgoe coming live from Valemont. Today we're going to be talking with Mr. Andru McCracken. He's a reporter, he's a television chief editor, and a cameraman. He's a good guy to have around. And today he took an interesting trip. He went to India. And we're going to ask him a few questions about what India's like. And I'm going to ask how he feels about going there and how he feels about getting back.
Kerala is a state in India that I went to, and I went to the city of Thrissur in that state. Hot. It was the hottest temperature that they had on record. It was so hot that there was a 15-kilometer-an-hour wind, and it increased the temperature by 3 degrees, where the wind actually makes you hotter than if there's no wind. Can you imagine? Like, what do you do to cool down?
We left here on March 14th. Now we got time zones we're traveling through. So when we get off the plane in India, did you gain time or lose time?
I flew into the future. So I gained time. I gained 12 hours. So when it's 8 o'clock at night here, it's almost 8 o'clock in the morning over there. So 3 o'clock I went to the Vancouver International Airport in the afternoon, and then I arrived in Mumbai at 3 a.m. One of the most exciting things you can do in India is move. Like when you move around, means drive a car. If you get on the road, it is like NASCAR. NASCAR, you know, with the touch to pass, it bump to pass. It is incredibly wild. They're setting up major interstate highways, just like the States. These things are big and fairly fast.
How many lanes?
Well, Indians don't really use lanes. You're on a 2-lane road, somebody pulls out to pass, and then you will also go out to pass because there's that much room on the road. So you have 3 wide coming down, and the next thing is over the next hill, you'll see a bus, and then everybody's got it scattered. You see the drivers, and they got nerves of steel, and they know their vehicles to an inch.
Do you feel safe when you're in India? What was security like over there?
You know, I know that there must be crime in Kerala, and I'm not saying that there's not. And I know there's a lot of problems there too. But as a Canadian, if you decide to travel to Kerala, I think you'll be really comfortable. It's a really cool place. You can really identify with the people there. But one of the neatest things about Kerala is that you really get the sense that you aren't better than anybody else that's there. There's a real sense of equality. And so in other parts of India, people sort of flock here, whatever, maybe they're looking at making a buck or whatever. But when you're in Kerala, people will try to connect with you because they're interested in finding out where you're from and learning more. And they come at it a very... they're not overly subservient or interested in, just interested in a deal or whatever. They're genuinely curious, and they're really polite people, and this is one of the problems of India, I think, is communication. All the politicians seem to speak English, or most of them seem to, and things at the national scale are spoken in English. But that doesn't mean everybody in India speaks English.
When you think of India, what do you think of for smell, odor?
It's from the most divine, sublime, wonderful odors of food and incense and sandalwood and all these exotic things. And then you walk out into the street and schmuck, it can hit you like a ton of bricks, some totally foul smell. So to me, It's really extraordinary. The smells are everywhere and so intense, and both good and bad. I mean, it's a world of smell. And also, I have to say, with Indian food, it's a world of flavor. Like, it'll rock your socks off one way or the other. Whether it's sweet, or it's sour, or it's some taste you've never tasted before, it is strong and it's there. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, there's nothing that's kind of just towing the line.
What would you smell foul? Like,
well,
what would you smell? Garbage?
Yeah, there's lots of garbage and burning of plastic.
What's one of your favorite foods over there?
My favorite food, I have to say, is appam. It's this breakfast dish. You get it in the morning. I mean, I would eat it at all meals if I could. And it's this, what you do is you soak some grains and rice and stuff, and then you grind them up, and then it ferments just a little bit, like you leave it overnight, it ferments into something different. Then you make these kind of wafers, and it's eaten with this, it must be just like right out of French cuisine. But this is from southern India. It's like a coconut milk potato curry, and it's just like, but it's got no spices in it at all. It's just this wonderful, something out of a top restaurant in France. I could just imagine like one of the best hotels, the best restaurants, and he would serve this up, and it's just like magnificent. Wherever I see something that looks tasty and good and looks like they've had some care put into it, I eat it. I don't care how dirty the place is. I don't care about the rats in the foreground. If they're serving up something good, I'm in there.
What about terrorism? This bother you at all, Andrew?
Oh, when I was in, last time I was in Bombay, November 28th, 2008, was the day that city was under siege by these terrorists that were driving around and shooting people. They killed the chief of police, and in Mumbai, and the whole city was on edge. I can tell you, man, it was crazy, and to see that city shaken like that. I love that city. It's a terrible city, and it's a bad city for a lot of reasons. A lot of people get treated really poorly there. But it's also a beautiful city, and there's an incredible civil society there. So you can walk down the street and not worry about being molested by people or whatever. There's kind of like there's a sense of decorum, and it's only after that goes that you realize what you lost. And I've always really liked Mumbai, but after that exchange, and then now you have police everywhere carrying guns, and they're throwing military at it, and people are getting really anxious, and then they start to get hateful and fearful, and all the sort of the stuff. They're angry at the Pakistan and more generally at Muslims, and it's just an ugly face of that city. And I think that is a real terrible crime.
It's been nice talking to you, Andrew. You've been really informative, and we know you like India.
Thanks so much. You know, I wanted to talk about India for a long time.
Good story. Kudos to reporter and cameraman Ray Virgoe for bringing us that story.
And Andrew, I'm still waiting for my chapatis that you couriered over to me.